Welcome to this webinar, Start Again. Turn failure into resilience and create wellness habits that stick. You know that health goal you've been trying to reach repeatedly, but just haven't accomplished? You might have come close, or maybe you gave up on it before starting. It could even be this year's New Year's resolution. One study found 91% of us had given up by mid-January. Rather than beat yourself up or see failure to reach your goal as the end of the road, research shows it's an important and expected part of habit change. In other words, the road to success is paved with half starts, strategies that didn't work, and falling short. Often, these pitfalls stop us altogether, or become a judgment about our abilities or ourselves. But if we reframe them as a step on the path, we are more likely to succeed in our subsequent attempts. Where we get stopped becomes an opportunity to ask critical questions about the goal itself and our strategy, so we can take the lessons we've learned and make changes. This is how our perceived failures can help us build resilience and adaptability. Think back to a goal you've been reaching for but haven't yet achieved. Or dust off that discarded New Year's resolution. Or you can call to mind a new goal. Grab a notebook and use this webinar as a strategy session. We'll share some different approaches that draw on the latest science and behavior change. While we'll be focusing on health goals, you can use these tactics for other goals in your life as well. Try as many different strategies in pursuing your goal and use the ones that work for you. That's what Gretchen Rubin, author of Habit Change book, Better Than Before, advises. The Stages of Change is one of the most well-known models for pursuing goals. It provides a good overall structure that even the latest habit change science generally fits into. As you can see in this model, change is gradual, and relapse or failure is part of the process. What we sometimes mistake as the end is just a new beginning. Resistance is that part of the process where you're not quite ready to make a change. For example, someone suggests you change your diet for better health, but you like what you're eating and don't think you need to change. If you're not ready to commit to your goal, cross it off your list. Come back to it when you are ready. Another form of resistance is lacking the resources to make change. You want to start eating healthier, but you don't know what a balanced meal would look like. Or you don't have time to cook. Or it's financially out of reach. If your obstacles are related to resources, keep going. These are obstacles that you might find ways to move through with a different strategy. Once you know you want to make a change, get clear on what exactly you want to achieve. You know that adage, I'll believe it when I see it? Flip it around to I'll see it when I believe it. Visualizing what your life would look and feel like if you reach your goal can help motivate you. You can even visualize what it would look like to work toward your goal. This type of visualizing is more than wishful thinking. The latest neuroscience shows the same parts of the brain light up when we visualize taking an action as when we physically take that same action. In one experiment described in the book The Brain That Changes Itself, researchers found that imagining using one's muscles actually strengthened them. The study followed two groups. One did physical exercise, moving a finger, for 4 weeks, and the other visualized doing the same exercises for the same number of reps for 4 weeks. Those who did the physical movement increased their strength by 30%, as you would expect. Those who visualized doing the movement increased their strength by 22%. These early steps toward our goal are where our obstacles become clearer, as you may have already found. This is a good thing. If you know the obstacle you are likely to face, you can make a plan to overcome it. If you're choosing a goal repeatedly and not making progress, consider, what exactly is stopping you? James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones, suggests doing something similar with a new habit or goal by doing a failure pre-mortem. Imagine 6 months from now that you've failed to make a change. Why did you fail? What challenges did you run into? Use your answers to clarify your goals and strategy. Consider if the goal you've chosen is a worthy goal. Is it meaningful to you? Is it in line with your values? Is it leading you to more happiness? If the answer is no to any of these, adjust. For example, if your goal is to lose weight but it's making you miserable, the answer isn't necessarily to give it up altogether. Instead, consider why this is your goal. Maybe what you're really seeking is to improve your health and have energy to fully enjoy your life. You can then refine your goal to be eating a balanced diet so that you feel energized, which will change your approach. Or maybe you do want to lose weight, but you're feeling defeated. Perhaps your goal remains, but you try a different strategy that makes you feel more optimistic. If you're already eating healthy, maybe you shift to focusing on improving your sleep, which also influences weight. A big reason we fail at achieving a goal is that it's vague. To counter that, make your goals SMART. SMART is a helpful acronym to further clarify what action you will take. SMART goals are specific. So instead of I want to exercise more, it's I will begin running 4 days a week. SMART goals are measurable. How will you know you're making progress? They're achievable. You might even break down bigger goals with smaller goals to make it less likely that you give up. SMART goals are relevant. Is this goal the right one for you in your life right now? For example, if you have a knee injury, now probably isn't the right time to begin running. SMART goals are time-bound. We are less likely to achieve goals that are too far out in the future. Once you have a SMART, concrete goal, plan for how you will achieve it. One of the best ways is to build new habits. Habits are actions we do so routinely that we don't have to think about doing them. They become automatic. Neuroscientists have discovered that our habits are stored in a part of our brain that we don't have conscious control over. That's why it can be so hard to break a habit. But we can also use this automatic action to our advantage to build good habits that lead us more easily to our goals. B.J. Fogg, a Stanford behavioral scientist and author of Tiny Habits, The Small Changes That Change Everything, says habits are a more reliable way to reach our goals because they take away the need for willpower and motivation. He says if you have to sustain motivation, you won't do it at some point. Fogg says make your new habits tiny. Tiny habits seem so small that they won't really make a difference. But that makes it easier to make them a habit. For something that is hard to do, like training for Ironman, you need a lot of motivation. For something easy to do, like walking for a minute, you don't need motivation. Over time, you can add on so that once tiny habit becomes a big habit. That 1 minute walk becomes a 5-minute walk, becomes a 10-minute walk, becomes a 30-minute walk. By slowly adding to that tiny habit, you eventually are getting in 30 minutes of exercise each day. To make it even more likely you'll succeed, add that tiny habit onto something you already do every day. Then you're not starting a habit from scratch. Fogg has a formula for this. After I do whatever habit you already do daily, I will do this tiny new habit. So that could be, after I start preparing my dinner, I will take a sip of water as part of building the habit of drinking a glass of water before meals to avoid overeating. Or, after I wake up, I'll take 3 slow breaths to build a meditation habit. Each tiny habit is focused on a behavior you will do rather than an outcome you will achieve. But the behavior eventually leads you to the outcome in a more reliable way. Each time you complete your tiny habit, celebrate to get that hit of dopamine that builds the positive feedback loop in the brain. It could be with a yes, could be throwing your hands in the air, patting yourself on the back, whatever works for you. That builds the reward pathway in the brain for doing that habit so that it becomes automatic. In Atomic Habits, James Clear suggests another way to build habits. He says, start by setting your environment up to cue that new habit. If your goal is to change your eating habits, stock your fridge with healthy food. If it's a new exercise plan, schedule it in your calendar. Put your running shoes by the door. We tend to want the things that are right in front of us. Clear advises keeping these new habits small so they are attainable. He says optimize for the starting line, not the finish line. Finally, mark off on your calendar each day you do that new habit, which creates a feeling of accomplishment and delivers that hit of dopamine to the brain. Once you hit a good streak, celebrate it. It takes between 18 and 254 days to build a new habit. There will inevitably be a day you miss. Shake it off and start again the next day. Stay focused on your goals. And if you find this new goal isn't working, refine it and start again. Thank you for joining us today. We wish you luck in reaching all your goals.